Good morning. I'd like to call to open this meeting for the Legislative Committee. My name is Carrie Ann Farrell Hines, and I'm the chair of the California Board of Accountancy's Legislative Committee. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Let's start by taking roll. Can we start with Kathleen down at the end of the table, please?
Kathleen Wright.
General Yang.
George Family.
Larry Kaplan.
And with that, it looks like we have a quorum. So I'd like to move on to the first item on our agenda. Let's start with item number 1, which is approval of the minutes of the November 17, 2016 Legislative Committee meeting. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to take a look at the minutes. Would any member like to make a motion to adopt the minutes?
Motion to adopt.
And can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments or discussion from board members on the minutes? Hearing none, are there any comments from the public on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Rebecca, can you please call the vote, please?
Carrie Ann Hines,
Yes.
George Family,
Yes.
Larry Kaplan,
Yes.
Jen Oyang,
Yes.
and Kathleen Wright.
Yes.
With that, the motion carries. So I'd like to move on to agenda item number 2, which is an overview of the California legislative and regulatory process and the legislative committee's role. At this time, I would like to invite our board staff member, Nushin Muvasaki, legislative analyst, to present on this item for us, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, members. This item is an overview of the legislative and regulatory process and the legislative committee's role. One of the main roles of this committee is to review pending legislation and make position recommendations to the CBA members regarding legislation related to consumer protection and the practice of public accountancy. Staff have provided 3 attachments to this item for your reference. Attachment 1 is the overview of the legislative process and steps for a bill to become law. And if you please turn to page 4 and 5 of that attachment, you will find the legislative calendar for this legislative cycle. And I'm going to highlight some important dates. So on page 4, February 17th is the last day for bills to be introduced. And on March 12th is the last day for policy committees to hear and report on non-fiscal bills introduced in their house. Attachment 2 contains considerations for taking positions on legislation and is a great tool to reference when this committee and the CBA need to take a position on a bill. And attachment 3 is an overview of the regulatory process, explaining steps involved in amending regulations and ensuring public participation throughout. On page 6 of attachment 3, you can find a user-friendly chart with essential steps in the rulemaking process. This concludes my presentation. I would like to turn it over to Madam Chair for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from members of the committee? At this time, I would like to ask, are there any comments from the public? So seeing none, are there any other agenda items that members would like to consider for the next meeting? Seeing that there are none, this meeting is adjourned.